So X guard is basically if you stand facing them. I'll take this well. Okay, X guard is I'm underneath my opponent. I'm grabbing around here, and I'm going to take the leg that's closest to him is the higher leg. Okay. And the leg that's furthest away hooks behind his knee. Well, that's the basic position. It's really important that you're not here, because this doesn't work. It's probably the only guard where you are directly underneath the center of someone's gravity. That and probably deep half guard, which I don't play. But X guard I play. So let me go through all the components, and then we're going to give you a little test group. So the arm that's around the leg closest to you, you want to be cupping around the knee. And you want to have a little rotation outwards. Not enough so you pull his kneecap off. Not that I have the strength to do that, but you can imagine somebody going, rah, oh my God. Sorry. Okay, so we're doing that. All right, hooking around. All right? That's not good enough to hold his leg in place. You need to hunch your shoulder and tuck your chin. Now his leg is secured. The next thing we have to do is worry about this leg. All right? Just sort of casually holding it here, which is what I used to do in X guard, is not good enough. Daniel can just step his leg away. All right, it's too easy. Both legs work together. This leg goes outwards, this leg also goes outwards. So they're two opposing forces. All right? So there's there. So you've got two opposing forces, and then there's a second force you need to worry about. There's a directional force outwards. So you're spreading outwards and lengthways. You're extending them. You're making them as long as you can. At the same time, you're rotating, you're tucking it. Don't forget this bit here. So we've got outwards, lengthways, cupping here. And there's a third secret part of the X guard. Spin around. Which no one tells you about, but it's crucial. Is this. You can have a really awesome X guard aesthetically, but it doesn't work because there's a gap here. Okay? You need to make contact. See now there's no gap. So then you can feel the difference. From here, it's quite loose, right?
It's nice and tight.
It's alright, but here, that's a different thing. Just that tiny thing can make a difference. Final tip for you is that if you do find yourself slightly misaligned or he moves out of the way, you know that little micro shrimp that we did? Yeah. That's what you need to do. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 here. And what you're going to do is just ask your partner to skip around, dance around, try and take this leg out, try and remove this leg. Without using your hands, we're going to put hands in the way. Okay, so it should be, I mean, he'll get out eventually, but it should be awkward for him. We want your opponent to be doing this. Okay, you can make them look like a marionette. Alright? Okay, give it a go. 1, 2, 3. Establishing X guard, and again, don't worry about how we got here. We just woke up and we got into X guard. In the second hour, we'll look at setups and positions. We're in X guard. What we want to do is we're going to establish all our tension points. So the knees go outwards, the knee is against his hamstring. This one is doing its best to keep this trapped. And we're going to extend. What we're going to extend, when we extend him that way, I'm going to twist my legs where his head is facing. At the moment he's quite stable, so if you sort of stand in a sort of a horse stance there, I can't really move him there. But if I push my legs slightly upwards like a parabola, upwards and down, there, his hands have to touch the ground. All right? Now, this is stage 1. From here, we're going to get up. All right? This is how not to get up. Oh, I think I just got up. Okay. He certainly would not run away if we were sparring. We're going to get up with the technical stand-up. Just as a reminder, in that same position without my partner, the technical stand-up would be here. Still keeping the leg. Now with my uke. Yeah? I want to push him outwards and at the same time twist my hips and my knees. So the purpose is I want his hands on the ground. There. Here. What we're going to do is the leg that's on top, I'm going to put on the floor, and already I'm on my elbow. The second leg, there's a purpose for this one. I just want to extend it even more here. This gives me more chest. His leg is resting on my shoulder, but I'm still pinching in. I want to keep his leg, because his instinct is to run away from here, like on all fours, like wheelbarrow style. We'll talk about that in a minute. But for now, we're going to take the leg back. And this is the crucial bit why I say don't bend over. This is a bad way to do it. His leg just falls on. So we're going to do everything is technically, we're going to train our bodies to be as good as possible. Good chest position. Push in here. See my posture? Here's the final bit now. Gable grip, turn. I didn't mean to break your knee from there. Here. And then we're going to attack. Just for the purpose of this technique, don't face me when you stand up. Face away. Then it makes the turn more natural and will hurt your knee. So in this position, we're going to extend, twist. So go to the ground. Here, gable grip. I want to, rather than pull at this stage, I'm going to lean in. I want his heel to join his bum. Here, and then we're going to drag upwards. If he's still upright like this, rather than flatten on the ground, kick the other leg and start attacking from there. Everyone happy with that? Do you want to see that? You okay? Everyone happy with that? Watch your space, because this involves more floor space. Okay, so watch yourselves. Okay, 1, 2, 3. I would say that would be the core movement of the X guard. Whether it happens in exactly like that in sparring is another story. But the ability to go from this kind of position to this position, having that skill set in your muscle memory is really useful in the scramble. Okay, if you watch some of the purple, brown, and black belts spar, you'll see them change positions a lot. And having that ability to get up and change levels, not just from bottom up, but from top down to bottom as well. Especially if you like leg locks, they'll often be standing or they're on their knees and suddenly invert and play on their back. So these are nice skills to develop over time. Now, we haven't talked about gripping the sleeve, and this is a core part of the X guard, the success of the X guard, or your ability to be successful. Just relying on your ability to unbalance them, it takes a little time, as you've discovered, even with a willing Uki, it takes a bit of time to make them unbalanced. Better still to stretch them out and let them make the mistake of grabbing you. Let's start off with the forearm. This actually is a defense. If he pushes this down, he is out of the X guard. All right? Or at least it's not as effective as it was. So you have to be fairly quick. As he grips, we're gripping here. Now what I find is, in tutorials they go, and just take the arm. That doesn't happen in real life. Grip on hard. It's like, damn, I can't get it. So a good old trick from my instructor, Nick Brooks, is this. And we're back here again. You still, as long as you have this, you still have the basis of the X guard. This on its own isn't as good. This is a nice one to have on its own. But I'd rather have both. If he grips, we can temporarily let go and put it back again. Don't forget, always maintain the basics here. All right. Now with this one again, we're going to do the same thing again. Remember when we made him go forward and he put his hands on the ground, but guess what? He doesn't have a hand now. So be gentle when you do this, because otherwise they'll just go thud on their shoulder. We're going to stretch him out and we're going to twist our hips that way. Don't forget, this one here serves a purpose. I haven't talked about it apart from the intro, but it's kind of moving against the inner thumb. That's what helps in turn. Here, here. And we could do a technical stand-up from here, but since I'm in very good contact with my opponent, I'm just going to go for a very simple guard pass. Do that again. More space. And then you get a very distorted face on Okay. So we're here, and he grabs. It's quite strong. You can try it yourself. You're not going to get rid of this. Here. So keep the hand in place, extend, put this here, and we're going for the full stretch and turn. Here. It's like a mini technical stand-up, just like the warm-up, and I'm invading space. Don't worry, this is on my shoulder. This is like we call this the staple pass. You're not going to do anything with this leg. There's no triangles, there's nothing from there. Right? Yeah, let's do the other one. Yeah. So this one, he's going to fall that way. I'm going to show you the reverse end. This is the different technique now. Same thing again, he's gripping my knee. I'm going to let go of this. I'm going to pull down very hard. When he corrects his posture, which he will, that's the time to send him backwards. And it's the same thing again. I bring my leg back, and then we're invading, this time with a different kind of guard pass, what we call double arms. I'll show this sideways, really easier. Here, he grips. Let's say I can't get rid of this. Sorry, keep it on. Let's say I can't get rid of this. Can't get rid of this. Make sure you don't lose all the bits of the X guard that we talked about. This is free. Grab down here. He doesn't like this. So that's two different sweeps. Who needs a recap of the first one again?
Yes, please.
Yep. Who wants to see the second one again?
Yes, please.
I should do. Okay. The first one. They both rely on the grip. Now they'll be quite aggressive with this grip. They'll either be pulling up, pulling in, so you need to get rid of it. Here, and we are successful with this here. And then we're going to extend and rotate that way. Notice the drag back of my leg here. I'm going to invade the space here. And it's just like guard passing. The second technique is he refuses to go in the direction of his head. We'll do the same position. This time he falls backwards, especially when he resists the movement and corrects his posture. So the same thing again. I'm here, pushing here. Maybe he gets rid of his hand. I grab here, pull down. He resists. Look at this foot. It goes down. Look at the drag back of this leg. And we're passing guard like this. Two different sweeps. Please watch your space when you try this, because your opponent will be going left, right. Always look out before you do this extra sweep. If you need help, I'll come around and help you. All right, 1, 2, 3. People are happy with that, right? Because grabbing the sleeves takes away one of the main abilities for the person to defend themselves when they fall over, and that makes your purpose of passing the guard and getting to a superior position easier. Everything about the guard is making your life easier in the subsequent moves, right? It's not just about holding and defending and just being in guard indefinitely. All right, let's talk about a different direction that we need to also consider. Now, you have to understand that the natural reactions of your opponent. When you extend them to stretch them out, they don't want this. They want to narrow their stance again. And if they can narrow their stance again, my X guard doesn't become as effective. All right, it's very hard to manipulate them from a narrow, whereas wide is quite easy to manipulate. So with this in mind, we're going to use this to our advantage. The first technique we're going to do is we're going to extend them, and we're going to wait for them to narrow the gap. They'll fight their way to it. As soon as they narrow the gap, we're going to grab underneath the ankle here. If you can't quite reach the ankle, generally you're going to grab this. And then we're going to extend them again. But this leg does a lot of the work. We're hinging, this knee is a nice hinge that bends according to the pressure of my shin. See how this bends? But of course, if you keep grip of this, it's just going to fall. And this is the action this is the technique in action. Here. Okay? You'll end up in this seated position or here, whatever. It's the same thing again. I'm going to do a mini technical stand-up, and then we're going to start to invade. There are various ways to pass the guard. A very simple one is just pop it over, and we're here. I'll show you technique 1 again. And then technique 2 is optional, so you're going to hate it. But I like it. Right. So the first thing is we're going to extend them outwards. He's going to narrow the stance. We're going to grab here. We're going to do that again. Come up. And then we're going to start attacking. That's the easy one. Now the second one, just stay there. The second one relies on the same thing. We push out. As they come back in again to narrow their stance, we're going to shunt them over for an overhead swing. And this is where the warm-up technique, where we did this, comes into play. Now I can tell right now, not all of you are going to like this technique. So it's optional. Try it once, doesn't work, go back to the first technique. I haven't done this for ages. If I fuck it up, that's not going on the video. So, anyway, we're observing all the parts of the X guard. We're trying to get the grip, it's not quite working. We're going to go out, we go in again. This time, I have access to his collar or his sleeve grip here. Either one will do. But the collar is a nice one. Can you see where Daniel's head is pointing? We're going to go, and we're going to go. And we're going to go here. Alright? It's not so good when you freeze frame it, and then you kind of got to do it with one another. Here. 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 Slightly aided and abetted by Daniel's correct. Another way of doing this is you do have a sleeve. This is a little bit more controlled. You might like this one. Some have this sleeve. Yeah. Again, he makes a mistake of grabbing. Or with his hand on there. His hand here. Yeah. We extend, he narrows. Now I'm going to push this underneath here. And now he has no choice but to land here. That's the more scary version for the rookie. Yeah, so you kind of have to go with it a bit. So let's recap the first one, because it's taking too much time to do that first. Second one. Like this again. Okay, whether you have a grip or not, it doesn't matter, we're still going to extend it. Extend, narrows the grip. Second one. Yeah, let's make it easy. Extend, gonna here, here. Don't worry if you can't do the second one. Please give it a go of trying to push out and in and getting your feet. If you get this far and it's sort of heading in that direction, but you don't feel confident of going over your shoulder, you just let go and then sort of do a backward breakthrough. Watch your space. Yes? Some people are going, what are you doing? Alright, 1, 2, 3. Just give you a slight bit of context. Variations. We're not going to drill this, but I just want to show you variations. This is like what we call classical X guard, okay? There are people increasingly using this foot here because this has a lot of pushing power. Okay, so this is an option here. So especially when they try and bend down here, then I'm in contact with his ribs and I can start pushing and being more aggressive. This is kind of like a more of a neutral placement. Other options are the reverse X guard, very much in favour with leg lockers because it allows us access to that leg for the saddle, which is not going to cover today. Finally, from here we can go to overhook X guard, which I like a lot, because from here we can start attacking the leg for legal straight ankle locks. Right? Just the concepts for variations, but let's keep it simple.